Goodness.
What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with Touchdown Tuesdays here on a Tuesday, like we're originally scheduled. And it's funny, but before we started the show, Mayhem said for me to do the intro, but of course, I got to let my co-host talk there. So it's always great when he takes the stage. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How y'all doing today? Obviously we're going to do the Touchdown Tuesdays. We're going to give you our bold takes, and then we're going to talk about the title of the video, right? The truth about Georgia's schedule coming into week 5. We're just going to get into it later. I'm not going to talk about it right now. And then at the end of the show, we'll do some pick'ems. So how does that sound, Ballard?
It sounds great, man. I'm ready to get into it. Let's go.
All right, do your first take.
First take of the night here on Touchdown Tuesdays. This weekend, we got some good games. And like Mayhem said, we'll pick them later. Penn State wins against Northwestern. And they probably win by 10, 14. I don't know. But I have a feeling they're going to struggle in this game. They haven't really had that test yet. They're going to get a wake-up call that they're not that invincible as they face the Northwestern Wildcats, who are 2-2 on the year and beat a team last week in the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Say whatever you want about PJ Fleck. I think it's a good win for Northwestern. What do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. Penn State looks pretty invincible to me. They are a top tier talented team. They're definitely way better than Ohio State. The only biggest test that I see Penn State having this year is Michigan. I think Penn State and Michigan are right there neck and neck. Whoever wins that game is probably going to go to the Big Ten championship and win and make the playoffs. Penn State has to get over the hump this year. Penn State brings back like 80 something percent of their whole team. So with that being said, this is arguably James Franklin's best team that he's ever put on the field at Penn State. I like Drew Aller. I think he's better than Sean Clifford. I think like I said, they bring back like 80% of their team from last year. I really like their defense and offensive line. I like their running back. I like the quarterback. They got some weapons at receiver. They look really, really good, and especially defensively holding Iowa, which I understand Iowa's probably the worst offense in the country. I get it, but they held them to 0 points. And anytime you hold a Power 5 team to 0 points, that's pretty good to me in my eyes. What's your thoughts?
I love Penn State this year. I'm pulling for them. Shout out to my grandparents, Nana and Pop. Love you. We are. It's cool because my grandmother was just visiting family in Pennsylvania, and she came back with a white T-shirt that reps Penn State. She got it for me, so I think when I get next weekend off from work, I think watching college football, I'll probably wear it for her. And I'm pulling for them, but you also have to face reality. I think this team is really, really good. I think they got a lot of talent. They got a lot of young talent too, but they also return a lot of experience this season. You've seen it work. I'm going to say they probably get teams like Ohio State this year. I think they'll be okay until they play Michigan, pending they don't get complacent and run into a brick wall in terms of I feel like they are the only team standing in their own way. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Uh, I think I agree with you. I think if Penn State loses a game, it's because Penn State beat Penn State, right? I'm listen, at the beginning of the year, my pre predictions, I had Penn State in my Final Four. I still have them in the Final Four. So I don't think Northwestern's going to have this big game against Penn State. I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State shut them out. I really wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't
It probably
surprise me either. It wouldn't surprise me either. It's just one of those things. Like I just Northwestern is a sneaky type of team. Like yes, they're terrible, but they can fool you a little bit, and they have fooled some teams in years past.
right. Do you want me to go to my second take?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, my first take. Sorry.
Yeah, first
So
take.
my first take is Florida State. Listen, guys, Florida State is not the best team in the ACC. Before y'all go to the comment section, okay? Before y'all go to the comment section, Florida State almost lost to Boston College, almost lost to Clemson, which should have lost to both of them teams. They should have back-to-back losses this year, okay? Boston College had like 18 penalties, which was a Boston College school record, right? And then you had Clemson that, if you watch that game, don't look at the score, just watch the game. You would have thought that Clemson won the game. Clemson was far better in that game this past Saturday than Florida State. Yes, Clemson made a few mistakes, a few crucial mistakes, the fumble, and the missed field goal, which eventually brought them into overtime, so Florida State could win this game. Florida State just had all the right pieces come together, and I'm gonna be honest. Florida State's not the best team in the ACC. What's your thoughts about that, Ballard?
I just I understand what you're getting at here. I get it. I understand it. By the I can't even say it without laughing. Mayhem, the eye test has shown that Florida State looks pretty dominant this year. So I mean, they're a
I
good
just
team. I know you're not saying they're not a good team. You're just saying they're not the best in the ACC. My question to you would be, who is?
so I'm glad you asked that question. I'm gonna go ahead and answer it with Miami. Miami's
What?
back. Yeah, Miami.
Oh my
Miami's
god.
the best team in the ACC right now. I know they started the season versus Miami of Ohio and beat them 38-3. Went went and faced Texas A&M and beat them. They almost put a 50 burger on them. Bethune-Cookman beat them 48-7, and then Temple, they went on the road to Temple and beat them 41-7. I understand that they haven't really faced nobody except for Texas A&M. They get a bye week to get ready for Georgia Tech, and Miami's probably going to beat them as well. And then I would even say another team that's better right now than Florida State is North Carolina. You beat a really good South Carolina team, had a lot of momentum from last year coming into the season, beat them 31-17. You struggle with Appalachian State, but you still get the win. You beat Minnesota Gophers and you beat Pitt convincingly. They have a bye week as well to get ready for the Syracuse Orange. But there's quite a few teams that are undefeated. Duke is another one that comes to mind whenever I think of better than Florida State. They beat a top 10 at the time Clemson Tigers team. They beat, which Florida State also beat them too. They beat the Lafayette Leopards, which nobody cares about that. Speaking of Northwestern, they Duke handled Northwestern pretty well, 38-14, and then went on the road at UConn and beat them 41-7. They get ready to face Notre Dame at home. If Duke beats Notre Dame, I think Duke will have a better resume than Florida State. What's your thoughts?
I agree with you about Duke. They do have a tough game coming up against Notre Dame. It would look good on their resume. I think the only good win for Florida State so far, honestly, is a down Clemson team and then LSU week 1. So I get what you're coming from, and they did struggle against Clemson. The thing about Florida State for me is this. When I see a team like Florida State, I see a team that has great talent. I'm sure you're not denying that either. We can both agree they have good talent. It's just one of those things like, do you trust them later on? And do you trust them if they were to make the playoffs? Dude, I'm going to go ahead and lock in my national title pick. I'm telling you, I know you don't see it, but Florida State, man, is going to run that table. And national title, your
Florida.
Georgia Bulldogs.
Look, it's very hard to three-peat, right? But if we get put up against Florida State, we're going to beat them. That's just facts. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So far,
Okay.
I'm not really. Listen, I understand Florida State's undefeated. So is Louisville. So is North Carolina. So is Duke. So is, so is all these other teams in the ACC. Does that really mean anything going into Week 5? That you're 4-0? No, I understand you beat Clemson. You shouldn't have. I understand that you beat LSU at the beginning of the year. I know it's not a home game, but you was basically in your own backyard. And yeah, anybody can get up for one game. If that game was played all over again, do you really beat LSU? I don't think so. LSU is a team that always struggles in the beginning of the year that we saw last year as well. And then they progressively get better as the schedule goes along. Listen, listen, guys, I'm a Florida State hater, so Florida State is not the best team in the ACC. I would say North Carolina and Miami right now are both better than Florida State. Right now, I would even say Clemson is better, but I know Florida State won the game, so I can't actually say that Florida State is not better than Clemson because they won the game outright. So you got to give credit to where credit's due. So right now, my teams that are better is Duke, North Carolina, and Miami. So
I
let's
think this season, I'm just going to say real quick, I think we need to just sit back and let the teams and the players go out there and play the games, man. I mean, you're making really good points. You really are, but I mean, let's agree to disagree on that take for now. And if Florida State were to lose to Duke or some team down the road, I will call you up. You can laugh on this show, and I can cry
I
the
just
following Tuesday. How about that?
I gotta listen. I will. It's just a hate Florida State year for me. You got to be able to you got to get credit for me. There's been times where I was high on a team. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Baylor, right? Baylor won 10, 11 games. They went 11-2 one year, a couple years ago. And then last year, I was all in. I said, Dave Aranda is that head coach. I'm all in on Baylor making the playoffs. And guess what they did? They went 6-6. Okay. A couple years ago, I also thought the same thing about Texas. I said Texas might just be back. And guess what they did? They went 5-7. So guess what, Florida State? For me to actually believe some hype, right now you're 4-0. Great job. But can you finish the job? Can you finish it? If you finish it with 10 wins this year, next offseason, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to give all the props to Florida State. And I'm going to say, congratulations, Florida State. You are better than I thought y'all were going to be, right? But I am not going to believe some hype after 4 weeks that Florida State might be the real deal. I understand that Florida State is very talented. I understand they got a great offense. I understand. I get it. They got Jared Verse on defense. They got Lundy on defense. They got on offense. They got dudes. Keon Coleman is probably the best wide receiver other than Marvin Harrison Jr. I get it. But are they the best in the ACC? No. I think Tyler Van Dyke is a better quarterback than Jordan Travis right now. I do. I also think that North Carolina's quarterback is better right now than Jordan Travis.
It's what we do here, folks. We give our bold takes, is what we do. So he's just doing his job. He's getting paid for it. No, he's not.
So, but I got to do every time I get on here. I got to say something about Florida State because it's hate Florida State year for me. And you can love it or you can hate it. It doesn't matter to me. But let's go on to your second take, Ballard. You there? Hello.
Yeah, give me a second. You're buffering. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're doing good.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Hello.
Second take of the night for Ballard Sports Media. The Vols winning this Saturday against South Carolina. They avenged the loss from last year, but I'm going to make the claim that Rattler will outperform Joe Milton. What do you think?
Oh yeah, that's an easy take there. Definitely, Rattler is way better than Joe Milton. I think they call Joe Milton overthrow Joe for a reason. Just
Yeah.
not. I just don't think he has what it takes to be a Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler is really showing me that he's really really good. He outperformed in the first half against Georgia, had us 14-3, had us on the ropes. We couldn't stop him defensively. In the second half, we were able to stop him because Georgia just has elite coaches and elite players. But as far as Rattler goes, he's the real deal. I give my hats off to Spencer Rattler. I think he's extremely good.
All right. Yeah, I think it's one of those things. I mean, coming out of high school, Spencer Rattler was highly recruited to Oklahoma. He was a 5-star. Let's not forget how good he was at least coming out of high school. I don't think that he has lived up to what he was made out to be as a recruit, but I still think he's pretty good, and I think he's got potential. I think Joe Milton's got potential maybe. I just need to see a little bit more from Joe Milton. He's looked good, but I mean, come on, man. You lost to a down Florida team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so much that has to take place in this game for
Right.
Tennessee. Like, I I think Tennessee's the better team, and I think that's why they're going to win. But if you want to go based off quarterback, I would take Rattler.
Yeah, I would definitely take Rattler as well. Joe Milton, I would take a lot of quarterbacks over Joe Milton at this point. I just don't really trust him. I understand that he's good athletically. He can throw the ball 70, 80 yards downfield, but whenever it comes to I think he throws like bullets, right? He like on short passes, I see him a lot of times throwing like hard with the ball, and
It's
it
like
just
chucking. You ever see people chuck throwing cards?
yeah.
It's like doing
I
that.
I mean, he's very like like throws it hard with the ball, and I don't know. I would definitely take a Rattler over Milton any day. I'm gonna go on to my second take. This should be like a really easy take here. This is a funny take, not a real take, but it's just a funny take, right? So Ohio State still soft after a close win at Notre Dame. It took you the whole entire game to beat Notre Dame. You had a win. Notre Dame had 10 guys on the field, couldn't get 11 out there, so you had one extra player. So of course you can get that extra yard. Just Ohio State's still soft. Ryan Day, you're still soft. Ohio State, you're losing to Michigan. Just point blank, period.
All right, I'm with you there. I think think Ohio State, man, they're getting so much credit because they beat Notre Dame and South Bend. Or wait, no. Yeah, it was South Bend. Um, they struggled though. I mean, Notre Dame might be a good team. We might find that out. But is anyone out there gonna sit there and say, you know what? I think I'd take Ohio State on the money line to win the Big Ten this year. No, you would take Penn State. You would take Michigan. Who else would you take out there? Anyone like Iowa? I mean, you would take all these other teams before you took Ohio State this year to win the conference.
I definitely would say I would definitely take Penn State and Michigan right now. Yeah, of course. And I don't know who else would I take above Ohio State right now. Probably them too. I would put Ohio State number 3, but that's still. I mean, the Big Ten is just a soft conference, so
You want to
um,
go outside the Big Ten? I might take Bama over Ohio State.
yeah,
And we
I
don't
think I
have a
would too.
quarterback. We don't
Yeah,
have a
well,
quarterback.
they don't either.
Yeah, I
Kyle,
know.
Kyle McCord did everything he had to do to not lose the game for Ohio State versus Notre Dame. He didn't even throw a touchdown pass. Everybody wants to get on Stetson Bennett's behind about not throwing a touchdown pass. He didn't even throw a touchdown pass in that game. Not one.
Look here. Millis is in here. Shout out to Millis. I love you, brother. It's good to see you back in action on YouTube. He thought that was funny what I just said about Milrow. And he's a Bama man.
Yeah, I think Milrow's good with his legs, but Milrow's just not a great quarterback. He's just not.
It's not even that he can't throw. Like he seems like he has a strong arm. He's just not accurate.
He has bits and pieces of greatness. He does. I
Yeah.
mean, he's thrown a lots of touchdown passes, even the ones that got called back for holding or illegal man downfield and stuff like that. He's thrown some nice spiral touchdowns and looked good at moments. He's had moments where he's looked good. So but remember, he's in the same boat as yeah, like a Carson Beck kind of. He's in the same boat. I think he'll eventually get better as the year goes on. But right now, yeah, Bama is struggling a lot, and I think Bama's offensive line is a big reason why. I mean, also Milrow can't really make reads downfield. He just looks at the first person open, and or if he don't see one or two guys open, he just takes a run for it, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, um, let's see. I already did my second take. You already did your second take.
Yeah.
So let's react to a video, shall we? We're gonna react to what. Uh
Oh, I think
oh.
we both clicked it at the same time, maybe.
We're gonna react to Hugh Freeze's press conference. I guess he didn't understand, or I guess he didn't believe that Kirby Smart made the national title in his second year of head coaching, because Hugh Freeze is on this rant that they should give him 3 or 4 years at Auburn, which in the NIL transfer portal, all that stuff, you can create a team in 2 years. You can.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen it with Southern Cal. We're seeing it with like the Miamis of the year of the world. We're seeing it right now with Florida State. I know I just called them trash. I mean, they're a good team. They're just not the best in the ACC. So I didn't call them trash. I called them a fraud. That's what I called them. But let's just make no mistake about that. But let's go ahead and react to this.
All right. This is Hugh Freeze. This is a 3-minute, 46-second video. Freeze did not know how fast Smart succeeded at UGA. Talks ridiculous expectations from Auburn. Let's go.
Out of the conference for a few years, but from afar, watching what he's done and what he's built over there, or what impresses you the most with that program and what he's done?
Well, I played Kirby his first, and I know kind of what he inherited because I coached in that game, and I know what the outcome was, and I think it's a great testament to his vision, to his work ethic, to his staff, to his administration being patient and allowing him to go have the years he needed to recruit, and the dividends are paying off greatly. I mean, they're one of the gold standards in college football right now, and you're recruiting a top three class every single year, and that's hard to compete with, and they're well coached, and so you got to give them credit. I know it's a rivalry game, but the truth is the truth, and he's built a dang good football program there. With so that means a lot of things. Or it means he's got the support from the administration. It means he's got the support from the fans, and um, I don't know how long it took him. I don't know what it taken 3 years or so to get there, or 4 years. I don't know. Some of y'all could do the research, but his second year, whew, that's I don't know that that's accurate, but anyway, so he did it pretty fast.
Okay,
That's pretty impressive.
I had to pause that right there. I think we've seen enough, right?
Yeah, yeah. He was he was in there.
Wait. Second, that's impressive.
I mean, he was just in denial about Georgia making the national championship. I mean, I guess he didn't watch the 2nd and 26. I guess he didn't watch that. He might have been at a strip club or something. I don't know where he was at, but he wasn't watching that game apparently. I think every Alabama and every Georgia fan was definitely watching that game, 2nd and 26. We don't have to go through that again.
That's the night. That's the night the lights went out in Georgia.
I guess so, but we all have 3rd and Ringo now, so whatever. So that leads us right into the meat and potatoes of this live stream. The harsh truth about Georgia's schedule coming into week 5. So everybody wants to say Georgia, Georgia has a weak schedule, right? Right now, and listen, Rec Talk, if you're watching this back, if you're watching this, shout out to Rec Talk. You should go subscribe to his channel. Amazing Georgia Tech YouTuber there. But Rec Talk tried to tell me that the West is better than the East. But I guess the week, this top 25 list actually says something differently. Missouri's ranked in the top 25. Florida's ranked in the top 25. Tennessee's ranked in the top 25, and Georgia's ranked in the top 25. That's 4 teams compared to the Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss, 3 teams that we see from the West. So, listen, Georgia's schedule, and I understand some of these are going to fall out of the top 25, but right now, as it stands, if Georgia were to play all these teams tomorrow, they're all in the top 25. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida, Missouri. I mean, you got 4 teams in the top 25 that Georgia has to face, and also you have an undefeated Kentucky that has to play Florida. When we'll talk about that when we do the pick'ems, but I want to get your thoughts on this, Ballard.
Well, I mean, to say that Georgia doesn't play competition is like saying that SEC is a pile of hot garbage, right? I mean, isn't half their schedule the SEC? They get 2 West teams and the rest of the East. I mean, and you're also saying that Trent Dilfer and UAB are no good. And I'm going there in the fall of 2024, damn it. Okay, I'm going, and we're gonna make this football team great. I'm gonna help them.
I don't think UAB's that good.
They are a good They're not too bad of a team. I mean, it's just one of those things where what it is Georgia schedules some good group of five teams, but because they're group of five, what happens is Georgia blows them out because they're so elite and dominant. And it makes, I mean, from a media perspective, it's like, well, Georgia just played a weak team. No, they played a strong team that's strong where they are. We just have to realize they're not up to the level of the SEC.
Yeah, I can agree. I can agree with
Would you
that.
agree?
And with that being said, um, I totally just had a brain fart. But we had Oklahoma on the schedule. Now that wasn't Georgia's fault. People are blaming that on Georgia. Oh, Georgia could have scheduled them, but it takes two to tango. If Oklahoma don't want Georgia on the schedule, or if the SEC commissioner says, "Hey, we would like you not to schedule Oklahoma because of it's conflicting in the schedules," because we had, I think, a 2036 home game with Oklahoma, and then we had a away game this year with Oklahoma. So, I mean, I still think we would have beat Oklahoma, but even if we would have beat Oklahoma, then what? Then your schedule's easy. Your schedule's easy. No, if Georgia beats a team, they weren't no good anyways. Just like we heard last year, Oregon. Whenever we faced Oregon last year, Oregon wasn't good anyways. The year before that, when we beat Clemson, Clemson, they weren't that good anyways. I mean,
Speaking of
it's all
Clemson, speaking of Clemson, real quick, I'm sorry to cut you off, but were they not doing the same exact thing for Clemson in 2018 and they won a title and then they started saying they were good?
exactly. Exactly. And let's do a shout out to the chat, man. Shout out
Oh,
to
yeah.
Flaming Sports Media. Shout out to Millis Vanillas. Shout out to, well, I think that's Flaming Sports Media there too as
It
well.
is.
But shout out to his Saget page there. Shout out to Street Rats Edits. Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody Daniel Barry Sports Highlight. Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody, man. I want to read this comment right here. Florida State is not going undefeated. Yes, sir. You're right on that. Bingo. 2 weeks in a row. See, he's finally understanding. He's finally understanding. 2 weeks in a row, they have survived. They have survived. Somebody is going to surprise them for sure. Miami, and you got Duke. I think the two toughest teams on their schedule right now is Miami and Duke. They don't even play North Carolina. They don't have North Carolina scheduled on their schedule. So we can see North Carolina and Florida State meet up in the ACC title game. And that could listen, I could be wrong. Florida State could go 11-1 and then lose to North Carolina in the ACC title game. And guess what? Florida State does not make the playoffs, just like Mayhem Matthew told you so. Anyways, I got to stop with the whole Florida State hate thing on this channel, but whatever. You want to do some pick'ems, man?
Yeah, let me screen share that real quick and we'll get it going. All right. We're using, by the way, for those that haven't been following along, I've been doing pick'ems on my own, and each week on either my stream, but I think it's kind of turned into a Touchdown Tuesdays thing. I'm going to lock in my pick, but we are going to get Mayhem's predictions and thoughts on these games alongside. So up first, Florida and Kentucky. And reminder, Kentucky unranked, but 4-0. This game, I believe, is in Lexington.
Yeah, and that just goes to show this is a top 25 matchup. And both teams come from the SEC East. Rec talk. Anyways, but it's at K. Roger Field. Florida has to go on the road to K. Roger Field and play the Kentucky Wildcats, undefeated Wildcats. Give me the Wildcats to win this game. I know they've struggled a couple times, but I think they find their rhythm. I think Florida. I know they just face Charlotte, but they're still high. I still believe they're still high on that win against Tennessee. This is where Florida's season starts kind of going downhill.
I think so too. I mean, Florida is very much still alive for the East. Kentucky being undefeated, 1-0 in conference play with a win over Vanderbilt last week, still alive for the East. This could go either way. It's a great rivalry game. It's got a lot of history. I mean, you go back a few years, it took Kentucky 30 something years to finally get a win over Florida, something like that. The line is out on this game. It favors Kentucky by a point. I think it comes close, but I'm going to agree with you. Give me Kentucky for our first pick of the night.
All right, for sure. Our second pick of the night is Clemson Tigers. I think they're going on the road to Syracuse.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so all the teams on the right are the home team.
So Clemson got to go on the road to Syracuse. I believe Syracuse is also undefeated, by the way, for the ACC guys. ACC is doing good with the 4-0s, right? They all got to start losing games starting this week, and it starts this week for Syracuse. Clemson wins this game. They bounce back after a bad loss to Florida State.
Okay, can you hear me? My computer
Yeah, I
just
can hear
acted
you.
up a little. All right, good. We're still here. Okay, so Clemson on the road at Syracuse has not been easy at all going there on the road. They once lost in 2017. Then they played in 2019, the year after they won the championship. Think about Clemson, man. I like them this year to do something, but now they're 2-2. They've lost 2 games already. They got to lose some more. I think they lose to South Carolina later on. Dude, it would not surprise me if they go 8-4. However, Syracuse is going to get a taste of their own medicine. I think Syracuse is going to lose some games too. I like that they're undefeated. I'm pulling for them. I hope they prove us wrong, but I got to go Clemson here.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go Clemson. All right. Up next, we go back to the SEC, A&M, and Arkansas.
This is a tough game for me to pick. I'm gonna be honest. It's a very
This
tough
is always
game.
neutral site too, I think.
Yeah, it's a neutral site. This was a very close matchup last year. I believe A&M won this game last year, or did they not? I can't remember. But
Not sure.
but I know it was a less than a touchdown game. I know that. I think if I'm not mistaken, Arkansas missed a field goal at the end, but that was a long time. I can't remember. But there's nothing to do with this coming Saturday. Arkansas, they've had 2 struggle losses. They were so
Back to back
close.
too. Back to back.
I mean, they lost 38-31 versus BYU whenever they were winning. They were winning by a good margin just to come back and lose. And then they lose to LSU, which we all thought LSU was going to blow Arkansas out the water. And then Texas A&M, well, Texas A&M only has that one loss to Miami, but then you start asking yourself, well, A&M really hasn't played tough competition. Their toughest win right now is probably Auburn. I don't know. Give me
It's almost a
Arkansas
coin
to
flip, isn't it?
give me Arkansas to win. It's just because I would hate to see them lose 3 games in a row in close games. I feel like they figure out. I feel like Arkansas figures out a way to finally win a close game after 2 brutal losses.
I like the duo for Texas A&M between Connor Wegman and Evan Stewart. I think that's a dynamic duo for this team. I think it is a good duo for the SEC. I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'm going to go with the A&M Aggies, but I think they win it close. I think Arkansas has a chance, but I just see Jimbo Fisher having the guts to make some calls that'll keep them in this game.
All right. That's good. Now I want to do
We can just randomly, I
well.
guess.
I'll
don't
tell
know.
you what I
Do you,
think.
do
I'll
you have
tell
both
you.
of them?
I'm gonna go with the home team, James Madison.
Yeah, I'll probably go with them too. They've actually looked pretty good. They're 4-0.
You want to do the next game?
Yeah. USF, they almost beat Alabama a couple weeks ago. And the Navy midshipmen, thank you for your service. Really appreciate all the servicemen and women out there that are protecting this country and all of us in it. I pull for Navy. I pull for all the armed forces academies. So I hope it's Navy. But South Florida looks pretty good in this game. Looks pretty good on the year. I think they got a good offense. They definitely have a really good defense. Some guys in the secondary can defend the pass well. And I think that's going to be a big difference here. I think that, the type of offense, by the way, that Navy likes to run, this triple option stuff, I think South Florida will see right through it.
Yeah, it's very tough to beat a triple option team. Georgia, with Georgia Tech years ago, before they changed it. It was always the triple option at the end of the year, and you really don't face a triple option, but maybe once or twice a year. Navy is the home team here. Shout out to all the armed forces, just like Ballard said. I support the military, but I'm gonna have to go with South Florida in this game. And the only two games I watched Navy versus Notre Dame, and then I watched South Florida versus Alabama. So I'm going based off of what I've seen in them two games. And from what I've seen, is South Florida's more physical than Navy. So give me South Florida to win.
All right. Interesting couple games here. We'll get to LSU Ole Miss in a second. I'm sure we both have some feelings about that game. But first, we got Boise State and Memphis. Memphis 3-1. 87% of people have picked them. Boise State, are you going with an upset?
I'm gonna pick. This is a hard game to pick. I'm gonna just go with the home team. I don't know too much about these teams.
Yeah, I haven't really watched much of them. Memphis has the better record. Boise State, though, they've had some tough defenses, but Memphis seems like the better program right now. I mean, I'm sure they're really close, but Memphis has had better teams in recent years. They've seen the top 25. They know what it takes to win. I'm going to go Memphis.
Yeah, if this game was played about 10 years ago, I would be picking Boise State, no problem. But
sure.
I just haven't really kept up with Boise State. They used to be good back in the BCS era, but ever since the college football playoff era, I really hadn't kept up with the Broncos. And Memphis, like you said, has seen the top 25. They've made a little bit of noise at the level that they're at. So yeah, give me Memphis.
Do you want to come back to LSU Ole Miss and see what there is, or you want to go ahead and pick this one? Because we
let's
got
come
other
back.
games like Troy and Georgia State. So what do we have left? We got West Virginia, TCU, Notre Dame, Duke.
Let's do that
Let's
one.
come. Which one?
This one that you're on right now.
Troy and Georgia State. Georgia State's undefeated. A couple years ago, they were beating Tennessee and going 2-10, but they have turned it around big time. Pull for the in-state teams. If you're me, I'm pulling for Troy, but I think the Georgia State Panthers, what they're doing right now, moving the football downfield, being explosive, I'm going to have to go Georgia State here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Georgia State as well. I really don't have any thoughts about it.
For sure.
Now, see, this is another one of them. I will say something about Troy, right? This is another one of them.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me 10 years ago, I probably would have picked Troy because they have seen the top 25 a couple of times years ago, but that's just my 2 cents on that game. I guess Georgia State, since they're undefeated, and I got to represent my state too.
This past off season, we lost a valued member of our community here on YouTube in Golden Blue Dude. I've been pulling for West Virginia this season. They have done tremendously, like a tremendous job. They're 3-1. The only loss being to Penn State, right? Was it Penn State? I think.
Yeah, Penn
Um,
State.
I'm pulling for them still. The question is, are they going to beat TCU? What do you think, man?
I think they can, and I think they will. TCU's just not a great team this year.
I don't know who to. I agree about TCU, but TCU, you got to be careful. Like, there's some momentum that they only have the one loss to Colorado. They've bounced back in ways. I don't believe in TCU either. Either way, we're gonna, for Golden Blue Dude's sake, we're gonna click on West Virginia. Shout out to Joey Foster too. All right, we got to go back. We got to pick Ole Miss and LSU. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll do Notre Dame Duke next, and we'll get to the total number of points for that game. What do you think about the Tigers and the Rebels?
Same thing as last week, man. Ole Miss, it seemed like they couldn't, and I talked about this. Ole Miss, it depends on their play calling, man. If they do that, if they start the jet sweeping thing again, LSU is going to stop that easily. I just don't see somebody running all over LSU. I know Ole Miss is at home, but LSU's defense is not going to put up with the jet sweep crap. And I understand Lane Kiffin likes to start off running the ball to, eventually start passing the ball, but he needs to come out slinging that ball if he's going to beat LSU. I think their best chance at beating LSU is getting the passing game going. I don't think that happens. I think I think this is going to be. I think Ole Miss could possibly be winning this game like 17-10, and at halftime. But at the end, I think LSU finds a way to win. Give me LSU.
See, I'm looking at the stats here for the defenses according to ESPN. Ole Miss, believe it or not, and they got Pete Golding as a defensive coordinator, so that should tell you a lot about their defense. But on paper, it does look better than LSU's. And I also trust the offense of Ole Miss more than I do LSU. Like, I love Jaden Daniels. I do. And I think he's great. But Lane Kiffin is an offensive mastermind, and Brian Kelly just doesn't live up to that. I'm gonna have to disagree here, and I gotta go with the Rebels.
Wow.
It's at the Grove too, so 9 out of 10 picks. So we got it. The game of the week, College Game Day is going to be there. Notre Dame, do they fall again, or does Duke meet their match? What do you think?
I think Duke meets their match here. And I think Notre Dame I said this last week, I'm going to say it again. Notre Dame has a very, very, very great, almost, I would even probably say elite, but I'm not ready to say elite. Very, very, very great. As great as you can get before you get to elite. I think that next level is probably elite, but right now I would say extremely great defense. Duke and Notre Dame has an explosive offense. Duke's defense, I mean, they're good, but are they Notre Dame good? I don't think so. Just don't. Notre Dame is going to win this game. Notre Dame's upset about the loss that they should have won. I think Notre Dame wins this game, and I don't know if it's going to be necessarily close, but I mean, you want me to go ahead and tell you my prediction?
Mm, go for it.
42-27. Notre Dame.
Duke? No,
Notre,
Notre Dame.
yeah.
42-27. I like your thinking. Duke has got to face that match. Marcus Freeman, even. Notre Dame without Brian Kelly has had some good defense. I love Sam Hartman as a quarterback, a human being, everything about him. There's nothing not to like about the guy. I trust Sam Hartman over Riley Leonard. And College Game Day is going to be there, and it's going to be rocking, and it's probably going to be packed. But Notre Dame just lost to Ohio State. I don't know how you lose to an Ohio State team like that, but you did. But they bounced back. They're conquerors. They're champions. They're warriors. They're going to bounce back. They're going to be okay. I agree with you. I'm going to pick Notre Dame. Question is, do they cover 5.5? Yeah, they'll cover 5.5. They might win this by a touchdown. They probably could even win it by 10 points. I trust Sam Hartman's offense more than Riley Leonard. I trust Austin. What is it? Austin or Audric Estimine?
Yeah.
Over this Jordan Waters. I trust Chris Tyree over Jalen Calhoun. I trust Notre Dame over Duke. Okay? Do not define Notre Dame based on that Ohio State. Now, let me ask you this. Is it possible for Notre Dame to run the table, have only that loss to Ohio State, and even though they don't have a conference championship, can they get in the playoffs and sneak their way?
It would have to
I'm
be.
picking Notre Dame for this one.
It would have to
lot of
be a
chaos.
situation. It would have to be a situation like last year. You know, I feel like the perfect scenario from last year. You know, like Tennessee lost at the end of the year, Southern Cal lost at the end of the year, bunch of teams lost at the end of the year with only one loss. I can't think of another team that comes to mind. Utah, I believe,
Yeah.
only had 2 losses. They only had if they beat Florida, then they're in it. They're in the playoffs. But it would have to be something like that in order for Notre Dame to get in. But I think Notre Dame's playoff chances are very slim right now.
I mentioned too. I think I'm going to put my total score in this one this week. I think we did yours last, but I'm going to predict the score for Notre Dame and Duke. Go ahead and predict the score. It won't be a super huge blowout, but I think Notre Dame can win by a couple possessions. I'm going to say 31-17, and that's a total of 48 points. You like that score, or am I being generous?
You're being Well, I think that's a good score. I do. I think, but I do think Duke can score points early in the game. That's why I said 42-27. I think it's a close game at halftime, and then it just Notre Dame just starts pulling away towards it. I think Notre Dame's going to get a lot of late touchdowns, like third and fourth quarter, like late third, early fourth, and all the way into the end of the game. That's why 42-27 comes to mind. But yeah, that's a great pick. 31-17. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the score.
So let's double check and go through and see what we disagreed on. Kentucky over Florida.
Kentucky over Florida. I got Kentucky.
Clemson and Syracuse.
Clemson.
I agree. A&M and Arkansas.
We disagreed on that one. I picked Arkansas.
I went with the Aggies. James Madison, South Alabama. Nobody cares. I picked James Madison.
Yeah, I did too.
South Florida Bulls and Navy.
South Florida Bulls.
Memphis, Boise State.
I picked Memphis.
Me too. LSU, Ole Miss.
I picked LSU.
I picked Ole Miss. Troy and Georgia State.
Georgia State.
Yep. And then we both agree on Notre Dame.
Yeah. So only two differences.
Did we both pick
Yep.
West Virginia?
Yeah, I picked West Virginia.
All right. We're good then. So all the picks are made. By the way, 28 and 12 on the year. We're ranked in the 45,000 category. It is pretty low, but it's still also pretty high because there's a lot of people that do this. 88% on our picks, 280 points. We hope to get some more this week.
Yep. If y'all not subscribed to the Mayhem Matthew channel, just type in Mayhem Matthew in the search bar. It'll pop right on up. Don't think anybody else has the name Mayhem Matthew on YouTube. I would be surprised. But yeah, just Mayhem Matthew on YouTube, pop right on up. Subscribe to Ballard Sports Media if you're on my page watching. You know, we cast this live stream from both channels. So that is a good thing. So we can both get our watch hours up and stuff. But leave us a like, you know, and if you're replaying this live stream, leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think about the live stream and what we could do better. Always take some good criticism and bad criticism. And if you like both channels, subscribe. So like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I plan on going to the Auburn Georgia game. If anything goes wrong, then I'll be streaming that game. Probably go live anyways, even if I'm at the game. I just want to give y'all kind of like a road trip to the game. I might do like a vlog or something for y'all guys. So
Awesome.
stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. I've done a couple vlogs before on my channel if y'all want to go check them out. But I think I'm gonna do this one even better. I try to get better at my vlogs every time I do one. So I might do one of like driving all the way down there, and then I might do like a 20-minute, 30-minute vlog. So what do you got scheduled for your channel, Ballard?
So I am going to have next Saturday off. That next Saturday? Yes, because Alabama's playing Texas A&M. So we're going to go live for the A&M Alabama game. It's 2:30 Central Time on CBS. Probably going to be Gary Danielson, but no, we don't have hate, man. We love over here, and even if some people might get on our nerves every once in a while, but so we got that. I am going to record tonight and try to get it up overnight. I'll probably schedule it to get it posted tomorrow, though. I'm going to do a preview video for Georgia and Auburn, and my pick might surprise you. It might surprise you. I don't know, Mayhem. I don't know what he's going to do in that corner, but he's I know he's got a keyboard, so get it ready.
All right. But let's shout out the chat one more time. We I think at most we had 5 people watching. That's good. That's a W. But shout out to Street Rat Edits. Shout out to Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Shout out to Flaming Sports Media. Shout out to Millis Vanillas there. Shout out to, I believe that was it. Shout out to Ballard. Shout out to me. Shout out to the YouTube community. Ooh, you like what I did there? Okay.
Oh
Anyways.
yeah, dropping those bars.
Okay.
Baby.
Okay. W's in the chat. W's in the chat for that. But anyways, as a Georgia Bulldog fan, go Dogs.
Roll Tide. Love y'all. Peace.